So I've been inspired by a plant to make another video. This is just going to be a profile on a very cool agave. This is Agave Blue Flame. It doesn't really have a Latin name because it's not a naturally occurring plant. At least I can't imagine that it is anywhere. I do know that the ones that we have out in the nursery trade are hybrids, and they are, well, it's always a hybrid. Whether it hybridizes naturally in habitat is probably impossible because the parents, I'm not sure of their distribution geographically, but I would presume that they are nowhere near each other. The parents of this plant are Agave attenuata, the soft tip agave, and Agave okahui, and that is a really beautiful tight rosette green plant that just has terminal spines on it. The Agave attenuata has no spines, and because of that, this hybrid has somewhat mellow spines. It's got a little bit of serration in here, but not so bad it's going to just hook you. If you go super fast, like I just pulled my hand out super hard and pushed on that, there would be blood. There would be considerable amount of blood. But since there's no real maintenance involved in this plant, you really don't have any reason to get near it. You just give it its critical space. You don't want to fall on it. I do see this plant. This is one of the more popular agaves being used in landscapes all over, and for good reason. It's so beautiful, no maintenance. However, I see it being used next to sidewalks and things like that, and I keep thinking, like, if the kids are like me, who are riding their skateboards and doing tricks, they fall occasionally. Yeah, I fell too. And you wouldn't want to fall into this. That would be ugly. So I'm just down here in a nursery. This is not even in the landscape. It's just a plant for sale. But it was such a beautiful farm. I was like, I'm going to make a video out of this one here. You want to put this plant in full sun. Did I mention that it was hybridized by legendary Kelly Griffin? He's a legendary sort of agave guy who hybridizes all kinds of different agaves and probably other things too. I've never met him, but he sounds pretty legendary to me. Be a fun guy to meet, hang out with. I'm sure maybe one of these days. But for now, I just have to thank him for making such a beautiful plant for the world. And here's another one. This one is a little bit more shaded here. So you can see it's more opened up a little bit, which is kind of an interesting look itself. And but I really like sort of the tight look. We'll go back to the tight, sun-grown tight one here. So this plant only gets to maybe 2.5 feet wide. I don't think I've ever seen them 3 feet. They probably get about 2 feet tall, and they will make inflorescence, ultimately, stalk of flowers that are yellow, that are probably about 10 feet tall, but it's going to take anywhere from 5 to 20 years to do that. And so you don't have to, it will die after that, but it'll often pup. So you can get some pups out of the deal if that happens. Now you can see what's really striking. You can see the indentations of the thorns from before, if I can get in there without getting too bloodied up. Ooh, ow, 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 ow. See that? That little section right here. Yeah, all the agaves do this, or most of them do this, especially the ones with thorns, and they get that really interesting pattern. What's also nice about this one is it gets this, you can see it down in here. See how the stripe there, I would presume that's why they named it Blue Glow, because that little yellow stripe glows. It's got red on the outside and sort of a yellowish tinge on the inside, which is the glowing part. So I could see this plant at night when it's lit. It might be really spectacular because anything silver reflects the light. And then also the little yellow stripe might light up the sky a little bit. That might be an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. What else? This plant is extremely drought tolerant. There's really nowhere in California that this plant will need any water whatsoever, except maybe watering it in for like the first year, or planting it in fall ahead of the rains. And you could landscape your place where there's no water at all, no irrigation, and it would probably do fine. Probably do a little better with water, but this thing is really drought tolerant. As far as hardiness goes, it's hardy down to about 15 degrees, which is pretty much, oh look, the sun's coming out. It gives us a different look of this plant. 15 degrees, so that's pretty much colder than anywhere where we sell plants. See if I can get above it without falling into it. Isn't that striking? Look at that. Yeah, so anyway, agave Blue Glow, not to be confused with Blue Flame, which was a hybrid between Agave Sha'i, the native California coastal agave, and Agave attenuata, which is another wonderful plant that was hybridized back in the 60s by somebody else whose name escapes me at the moment. But I do know that he did it at the Mildred Mathias Garden in UCLA. And if you watch these videos, then that's a place you need to put on your checklist of places to go, as I highly recommend it. And yeah, get out there and get your agave on. And thank if you see Kelly, thank him for making such a great plant.